Again, you go to Washington State, have some good success there. You kind of put the program on the map. '93, you're heavily, heavily watched by the NFL.
Right.
It's between you and Meyer, wasn't it, out of Notre Dame at that
point? Between me and Rick Myers, who was going to go number 1 and number 2. We were going to be the top 2 guys in the draft. Excuse me. Matter of fact, I just got an email from Rick this morning. We're still good buddies.
Yeah.
So
Parcells ends up taking you at New England.
Right. Yeah. Ended up going about as far away from home as I could go. It was an eye opener being a small town kid from the wheat fields of Eastern Washington, and then going 2.5 hours up the road to Pullman, and all of a sudden I'm transplanted back to Boston. It was pretty heady stuff, man. I was 21 at the time, and was immediately installed as the figurehead for an organization, and an organization that hadn't had much success for a little while. It was pretty interesting, man. That first year.
So what was that transition like from the big man on campus at the university to now? You're like you said, you're installed as the field general at for a professional paid for organization. Like you said, your demands. College athletes have big demands on them, but pro athletes, it's a whole nother level, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. In college, you're fairly sheltered. You eat at the dining hall and you go back to your dorm room or your apartment, and you're kind of told where to be and when to be there, and it's really a pretty easy life. And then all of a sudden, you're transplanted into the NFL at a young age. You're handed a whole bunch of money, and you're kind of off on your own. But at the same time, you have to be able to, as a quarterback, you have to be able to be a leader for an organization, and instead of being dealing with other college students, now you've got 30-year-old grown men that you're in charge of as a 21-year-old kid, and it's you kind of get it. The way I took it, I just kept my head down, kept my mouth shut, and worked hard. But that first year or two, but man, it was pretty heady stuff.
What were the biggest challenges you had, walking onto the field? And like you said, you're dealing with guys that have been there for some 10 to 15 years, like you ended up playing, and obviously they've been around, and then you got the new guys coming from all different diverse backgrounds, and it's
the biggest challenge, quite frankly, was dealing with all of it at the same time.
Right.
You got a playbook that's a couple hundred pages thick. You've got a new life, a new region you got to deal with. You've got a new set of fans that are very demanding. You've got media responsibilities, and then you've got to go on the field and perform, and you've got to command the respect of the grown men in the huddle with you.
Right.
So being able to hold up all of that and juggle all of it and find a balance, that was the biggest challenge. It was, to me, it really was pretty. It was really nice and relaxing when Sunday came, because once Sunday came, I was on the field, and all I had to do was play football.
Right.
I didn't have to deal with all the other stuff, and so Sundays were nice. But that was the biggest challenge. Really was dealing with all of the change simultaneously and all of the responsibilities.
Yeah, I can't imagine the process there is just got to be again. I can't. I'm trying to think of. It's like going to med school, and okay, tomorrow you're going to be a brain surgeon.
Right? Yeah.
Really?
No, it was pretty interesting.
You're not given the skill set necessarily that you had before. So
the thing is, it still is. That's where I say the football part of it was that part to me was the easiest part of it. You take the field and. I was smart enough to pick things up pretty quickly, and was able to take the field and play. But I do remember after that year, we lost our first 11 games that year, and then we were 1-11. We were 1-11, and the one game that we won in the first 12 was a game I was hurt in. But then we went on. We won our last 4 games. To send ourselves into the next season on a high note. But I remember at the end of that season, I was worn out, man. And so what I did is I just got in my Suburban and by myself and just started driving. And I drove all the way home. Stopped in I can now admit that I stopped in Colorado and went skiing for a few days. Back when I was playing, I kept that under wraps pretty good because I don't think they would have liked it very much. I just took some time to kind of, just relax and unwind and reflect on everything that had happened because it was a pretty crazy year.
So do you do that a lot? Do you do a lot of? Have you done that in your life where you'll take that quiet time and reflect?
Oh yeah. It's really important to me. It's important to me to find that time just by myself, and whether it's 15 minutes or a day or two. That's important. Got to clear your head every now and then.
So again, you're transitioning into the pro life. I'm sure it got easier as the years went on to deal with all these demands on your schedule and your life, as you said. When did you get married in that whole situation?
Yeah, I married my college sweetheart. Got married in 1996. Okay. And then a year later we had our first child. Now we've got 4 kids. So it was.
Again, that support staff had to be helpful for you in that transition again. So
yeah, when you're living that, I mean, really, it's anywhere that it's important, but living in that pressure cooker was particularly important for me to come home to somebody that didn't really care whether we won or lost. Yeah. Said that she's going to make me dinner and take care of me whether we won, whether we lost, and that was a great deal.